Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again. Here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video character spotlight on a new character that we should be seeing fairly soon in the Walking Dead television series. That is, if they go along with the overall storyline of the comic books, and that is of Father Gabriel. Okay, so in the comic book series version of The Walking Dead, he makes his first appearance in trade paperback number 11, which is called, of course, Fear the Hunters. And that equals, or that's equivalent to issue 61 right here, basically, where he essentially comes up and he says, "Greetings, brothers and sisters. Can you spare a moment to talk about the Lord?" And basically Rick and the others are like, WTF, like what the hell? They have no idea. Then he says, "I'm Father Gabriel Stokes. I'm just a weary traveler, pleased to have found company. I mean you no harm. I have no weapons of any kind." And so Abraham calls bullshit and he basically takes him down, and or at least pats him down, finds out that he's telling the truth. He really has nothing. And then he says, "The word of God is the only protection I need." And then he's got the his, of course, Bible here. So he's a very interesting character. I mean, when he was first introduced in the series, I really didn't know what to make of him. I thought he was totally full of shit. I thought it was like, is this some kind of trick? Is this some kind of trap? Is he setting them up or something of the sort? And it's really handled well in the original trade, number 11, because right around that same time, we see the hunters come into play. So we don't know at that time if he's part of that or if he's not. Now, this video here will contain spoilers for the comic book series, but not really the television series unless they go the exact same route as what they did. It doesn't look like they're going to, though, because it looks like in tonight's episode, which is Season 4, Episode 13 alone, that Beth and Daryl are going to be in or near a church. There's at least a graveyard, and it looks like they're around the same. There's tombstones. It looks like they're around the type of environment that you would expect to find a pastor in, which a lot of people are thinking maybe alone, the title alone refers not to a member of the group, but to Father Gabriel. If you guys saw my video the other day, I predicted that Beth may die in tonight's episode, which I still think she may. But I do think that makes a lot of sense, because the title's alone, and basically from the wiki for Gabriel, I'll put the link in the description so you guys can check it out. It says, "When it all started, I was here alone. It was late at night when I first heard everything. I got scared. I locked up just to be safe. The next morning, they started coming. Neighbors, friends, members of my congregation. Not many at first, then more as the days went on. I wanted a safe place to stay, a sanctuary. I turned them all away. I only had so much food. I needed to be sure I could survive long enough to be rescued. I couldn't have those people in, then I'd starve. I chose my life over theirs. Most of them stayed outside the church yelling, screaming for me to let them in." Reminds me of similar to Season 1 when Rick and the others are at the CDC and Jenner lets them in. When they're yelling, "You're killing us." Remember when Rick's yelling? I remember that. "You're killing us." And the cameras. So I imagine something similar to that. Although they never show that in the comic book, that part of it. But he does say it like this. And then afterwards he says, "They never left. They didn't stop until the dead came in. Women, children, entire families. I heard their screams of agony as they were torn apart. Some of them calling out my name, damning me to hell. I know what I did. I know what I deserve. Kill me. Please, I've suffered enough. I want you to do it. I forgive you. Kill me, and I forgive you. You are only carrying out God's will. They died. They all died because of me. You have to make this right. Please, just do it." That's when Gabriel is basically begging Rick to kill him when Rick is interrogating him over a member of the group going missing who was basically kidnapped by the hunters. So this is really interesting, and I want to thank you guys, all of you. There wasn't just one person, but there was a lot of people that did make the prediction that maybe alone refers to him. Especially when I read over this part here that I just read to you guys. You've got a couple keywords in here. The first part of it, when it all started, I was here alone, and then he also talks about not many at first, then more as it went on. They wanted a safe place to stay, a sanctuary. I turned them all away. So, those two right there, I mean, the whole sanctuary thing is a huge influence this season right now, with the group probably meeting back together in some kind of sanctuary. Then in addition to that, you have the fact that he's been alone all the way through since the beginning. Like, as soon as the zombie apocalypse started, he was by himself alone in his church. So he basically locked up the doors and everything, and did not let anyone in, no matter what type of situation they were, family, children, women, whatever. He just locked them out, kept all the food to himself, until it sounds like eventually he ran out of supplies, he ran out of food, and he had no choice but to open the doors and go outside. So, very cool, very, very cool, and I hope that the predictions are correct, and that maybe the title does refer to him, and maybe Beth will survive tonight, and that actually what's going to happen is Beth and Daryl are going to run into Gabriel, who's been alone all this time. It would definitely be a strange direction for them to go in, and even if it's not tonight, even if it's not the episode tonight alone, eventually we're probably going to see him, I would think. Some people think that this Gareth character, who's played by Andrew J. West, is, they've said he's a remix of a couple characters. It's possible he could be a remix of Gabriel and Chris from The Hunters, so kind of a combination of both. And I don't know, another possibility. So in terms of this video talking about Gabriel himself, though, I think he's an interesting character. I mean, it's kind of fun to see these characters that somehow manage to survive, yet they're entirely defenseless. Like, Gabriel has probably never even killed a single walker, and yet somehow he's still alive at this point because he just basically locked down and just lived in a small, environment, like in one church. He just stayed there. He locked the doors. That was it. The walkers were never able to break down the doors. The place never burnt down, anything of the sort. And he just lived inside there. And that was it. So, definitely a weird character, a character that even till this point in time in the comic book series is still around and provides sort of that religious support to people in a zombie apocalypse, which, I mean, some people would say, how can you still be religious in a zombie apocalypse when all these things are happening? I think you'd find a lot of people might become even more religious because you'd have so much death around, you'd have so much, all of these things. Some people may turn to that in order to cope with what's happening as people are just dying all around them. And the whole idea of hell and everything. I don't want to get too much into religion here because that's not allowed on YouTube. It's not supposed to be on YouTube anyway. But but that's his big thing. That's his career, that he's a pastor and that he provides the people of the community with that support. So I think he's a really useful character to a large group. To a small group, he's probably a burden and he's probably useless. But when you get into a larger group, he definitely, I think, could raise morale for a lot of people. If you had maybe 50 or more, a Woodbury type situation or bigger, I definitely think a character like him would be extremely useful to have in your group, just to make everybody just to help everyone deal with everything. Like just in last week's episode still, we saw Daryl and sort of Beth dealing with what's happening to them, mostly Daryl though. Characters like Gabriel there to provide that kind of emotional support, I think, would be extremely helpful to a group, which Rick's group has. They've done it for each other, but they've never really had a character that's their thing. Maybe Herschel a little bit, some of the others, but Gabriel's like one of those characters that really has some kind of like morale boost aura, around him because of what he does and what he knows and his whole religious background. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about the character. He's definitely a weird character, but if he does come in soon, I mean, that would mean that the Hunters would have to be here really soon. And the storyline's definitely going different directions than the comic book series did. after the events of the prison already. We're seeing a lot of different things. And, of course, Daryl and Beth weren't even characters in the comic book series. So a lot of different possibilities, lots of fun. Let me know what you guys think about the character Gabriel. That's pretty much all I have to say about him. I like him. I think he's really interesting. He's different. He's not something you would normally see. And for larger groups, he could be extremely useful to really keep people up, when people are just dying everywhere, to keep people moving, to keep people psychologically, going and everything. Definitely is a good thing for people to have in that type of circumstance. I would have to say. I mean, even in the real world, you see it all the time, right? Somebody dies, what's the first thing, they do is, funeral. Well, that's, I mean, in a zombie apocalypse, that would be extremely useful for a large group. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about him. I'll call it here, and whether or not you think we'll see him tonight or not, or soon. And I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev. Saying peace.